Well, I kept delaying the stream for a reason. We are not dead and we are still alive because after this game week of Serie A football, we might not get that Champions League spot, and I probably blame all of these teams for dropping points because I'm now back believing in it. And whether we're going to get it or not, it's inevitable that we're back in it. Were we ever out of it is the big question. I think we were, but everything is aligned. And yeah, we need to do our job tomorrow and bring ourselves 1 point from Juventus, which, yes, if we do get equal points as them, the head-to-head counts, and we lost all big games, so we would lose any head-to-head against any team. But Juve have a complicated game next weekend. Lecce away in May is absolutely brutal, and I gave you my prediction last week. Maybe it was being optimistic, but I reckon we're going to win all games. I don't know what it is. I don't know why this wave of positivism and positivism has hit me, but I reckon we're going to win all of our games. I genuinely reckon this will happen. So we just need them to slip a bit more and prepare that final assault. Tomorrow evening against Fiorentina, we're going to get to it. It's been a while, I know. I'm going live on a weekly basis because there's not just much to speak about within the week. So yeah, I just don't want to randomly go live and speak about absolutely nonsense just for the sake of going live. So our interval is longer apart, but yeah, it's been a while. A lot of great football that we didn't comment in the Champions League last week. I'm sure we'll have a chance to comment those games and this coming Champions League second leg this week. Villa lost their Europa League tie against Nottingham Forest, which again shows you how they were not invincible and that. But anyways, we have a game tomorrow. Let's focus on that. Okay, let's look at the game. Then we'll look at the table. We'll look at calendars. Predicted 11, we'll speak about Fiorentina, we'll do all of that today. Leave a like if you're back believing, maybe like an idiot, just like me, but I am definitely certain about one thing. Verona, I love you, but at the end of the season, I may absolutely hate you, because it's your fault if I'm now back believing in this. And by the way, it's not just this game. Because Milan losing and being in an incredibly bad form lately, and Como not winning and getting full points yesterday against Napoli, the constellation is aligned for us to attack. And we need to attack tomorrow. Number one, to consolidate that fifth position, because I already gave you my reasoning as to why we need that fifth spot. Because we need to remove the pleasure from Lazio's mind of not just winning the Coppa Italia, but potentially winning that trophy and kicking us in the Conference League. So number one, Champions League, no Champions League, we need to win to consolidate that fifth spot. Because now between us and Como, the ball is in our hands, because Como dropped points. And then if we can push for that miracle, which 20 days ago looked like absolutely impossible, but now is potentially back open. Okay, let's talk about tomorrow's game. I want to start off with Fiorentina. I like to start off with our opponents every time to get them to get rid of them instantly. Look, Fiorentina in the second half of the season is one of the teams that grabbed the most points. And I think, just like, you know what I associate this season from Fiorentina to? I associate this Fiorentina season to when Sassuolo got relegated 2 years ago. Sassuolo, and I'm going to give you similar analysis when it comes to these two teams. Sassuolo, when we faced Sassuolo, one of the things that I said in the match preview is I have no idea how they managed to get relegated 2 years ago, because Sassuolo is a very good team, and this season has proven it. Sassuolo has opted for an absolutely incredible season. My credits to Sassuolo. my credits to Fabio Grosso, because I think Sassuolo, and you know what I admire? A lot of teams who don't have any more to play for at this stage of the season opt out. They go, I'm on holiday mode. Sassuolo doesn't do this, and I give them respect for this. Not just beating Milan today, but Sassuolo overall, a team that was never, they were never really meant to be in the Serie B. In fact, they dominated that Serie B campaign like this. I associate that season to this season's Fiorentina. Fiorentina are not going to go down, but the danger of going down, was around them for a very long time this season. Fiorentina are nowhere near that level. Fiorentina have a very good team. I would argue that Fiorentina's squad depth is better than yours. That's something that I could open a debate about, and I would actually think that you can fight for that debate, because Fiorentina have a very good squad depth, and Fiorentina's quality is never supposed to represent those league table standings. They just hit the season where everything went wrong. They then saved the season, which could have gone wrong. They managed to save this season, but Fiorentina are a team that had a lot of problems. Their owner died a few months ago. That will lead to an internal earthquake. They changed managers after managers, and already changing manager within a season brings its turmoil. Add the fact that I am a very fond believer on the fact that, Fiorentina fans and Fiorentina players need to play in that absolute shithole of a stadium, which has been under construction ever since I was born, basically. But that's depressing. Imagine playing football there. It affects you. So a lot of things did not work for Fiorentina, and it ended up being the season that it was. But Fiorentina are a good team. Fiorentina are a team that in any other season would fight for Conference League, Europa League. So this remains a complicated game. Then yes, motivation is everything. I've said this many times. They've got nothing more to play for. They're out of the Conference League. They are safe, so they're not going to go down. So they could be in that zone out mood, going, well, we saved ourselves. Now I'm gonna zone out. We have got a lot to play for, especially coming after this game week and the results that emerged from this game week. We're back playing for our life, because the chance is there, the chance is big, and the only way that chance can get into reality is if you do your job, and your job is winning all 4 games remaining. Then you see what happens in the other games. But there's one thing that you have to do, and there's one thing that you can control, and that thing is winning all of your games. You need to win all of your games. That's for sure. And then you see what happens, but you need to do your job. One thing to point out, Ken is not available for this game. It's not an injury. I read it's a personal problem. So I read that Ken is not available for this game, so they won't have their biggest player, who I'm a fan of. I think Ken is a very good player, physical beast. But Ken, they've got interesting players. Fiorentina have an interesting team. Okay, I think the discussion about motivation is where you need to start this game, where you need to start your analysis. We've got everything to play for. They've got nothing to play for, and that there is the reason why we're favorites. A lot of players are back from their injuries. Paolo is back. We've seen him 10 minutes against Bologna last weekend. Wesley's back, but he was there against Bologna too. And then Kone is back, and I expect him to start, to give him that final push, to help give that final push in this last sprint of the season. Gasperini spoke in the press conference today, very calm press conference. It's the calm, not before the storm, after the storm. I think we're going through the calm after the storm now, because the storm was the tensions with Ranieri. The Fredkins went for the decision of kicking Ranieri out. I think Gasperini is much more serene, I would say, now. He spoke about, effectively, the most important thing that he said from today's press conference is how we're navigating on two different pathways, railways. One is the present, trying to end this season in the best possible way, winning tomorrow game after game. And the other path is starting to plan and program the future, which I think is an important pillar, because the issue with what happened with Ranieri, and probably with the fact that Massara won't stay now that Ranieri left, is that we have nobody with whom Gasperini can start planning for the future. And, planning for next season needs to already have started. So I hope that there have been internal talks with the board. I hope that the board have, in a way, chosen the sporting director already, and kind of outlined what the outline of next season needs to be. Because otherwise, if there's no programming, if there's no future, there's no excitement. You need to know what you need to do, both in the transfer session and when setting out objectives for next season, and how you kind of test next season through the transfer session. So all of those talks are talks that need to already take place. It's not something that you wait for until the season ends. Of course, in terms of finances, yes, because if you get Champions League football or Conference League football, it's two completely different types of programming. But some ideas need to already have been jotted down. That's for sure. And I'm pretty sure Gasperini wants this meeting with the board now, because he wants clarity, number one, most important thing. And he wants to understand the direction that they want to bring this club to. But yeah, I expect us to win tomorrow. I expect us to win. I think we're going to finish on a high. And I'm confident on this. I will back this with a big statement. I think we're going to finish on a high. I see us winning all our remaining games. And just to... I know people want to do this. And I don't blame you, because after Milan lost, Juve dropped points to an already relegated Verona, and Como 0-0 against Napoli. You can't blame yourself if you're back believing in it. I still think we're not going to get it. I still think Juve will get it, even after this result. Also because this league is corrupt. Everybody knows this. It's not a surprise. Everything that is emerging about referees in these last couple of days, if anyone is actually surprised about the state of referees in this league, you're the idiot. Certainly not us. This is a corrupt league. And there is always, whether you like this statement or not, there is always that possibility, which is not a possibility, it's a reality, that the establishment wants Juventus in the Champions League. And I was watching the game, which is why I delayed this stream about 15 times. That last free kick that they gave Juventus in that game is the exact reason why I feel like, even if you do your job, you're going to get fucked by these referees. Because these referees already know who they want in the Champions League, and already know who they want to bring in the Champions League. So when you speak about football in this country, unfortunately, referees play a big part in it. And, I grew up with Juventus cheating, so I'm definitely not going to stop this belief. So always be cautious. Because they're one penalty and they're in the Champions League, and you're not, and you're fucked. So always be cautious about that, and never be confident. Never be confident on the fact that these referees don't determine results, because they do. And the fact that all of these Inter-scandals are now coming out, it's not a surprise. I've been saying this ever since I started this channel. This league is corrupt. So, yes, you gotta do your job, of course. Yes, you gotta hope that the teams bottle it. But ultimately, referees also play a big part. And that's facts. That is factual. But, okay, looking at the calendar, I mean, let's just look at what can come next. Because we're all speaking about Juve, but there's also Milan. who I don't see drop out of the top four. I just can't see it. I cannot see Milan drop out of it. I can't, because I mean up to 3 weeks ago they were challenging for the league title. So the image of Milan out of the top four is something that my mind still hasn't processed. But if you win tomorrow, you'd go 1 point from Juve and 3 points from Milan. And Milan have a very complicated calendar, because looking at the calendar between you, Como, actually, let's forget about Como for a second, because now the ball is in our hand, okay? Fuck Como. They've bottled their chance yesterday. Now the ball is in our hand. If we win every game, who cares about Como? But looking at Milan and Juve, just for that Champions League metaverse, let's call it a metaverse, next weekend, out of the 3 teams, we've got the easiest one. Now, Parma have been playing good football lately, but Milan play Atalanta, and Juve play Lecce. Now again, Lecce is one of the weakest teams in the league, if not the weakest on a technical point of view. But facing Lecce right now, away, when Lecce literally are fighting for their life, for me it's not an easy game. Juve can win, absolutely, no doubt about that. But it's not an easy game. So next weekend, we need to win tomorrow's game. I don't even know why we're looking after tomorrow's game, but just for the sake of it, next weekend, out of the 3, we've got the easiest game week, and that's a fact. Game week 37 out of 38, we play Verona away. Sorry, we've got the derby. Juve play Fiorentina at home, and Milan play Genoa away. Now, Genoa and Fiorentina don't have nothing to play for. Genoa away is not easy. Daniele De Rossi. Juve Fiorentina hate each other. We've got the derby. We probably have the hardest game, even though Lazio probably don't care about it, but it's the derby and we've got the hardest game. And then in the last game week, however, Juve have got the derby. We play already relegated Verona. And Milan play at home against Cagliari, who I assume they will win. And I also think Juve will win, even though it's a derby. And if there's one team that Torino won't gift points to, it's Juventus. So look, I mean, the results from this weekend, if you win tomorrow and then analyze this game week, you're inevitably back in it with 3 game weeks to go. Again, the ball wouldn't be in your hand because you lost all direct encounters. So even if you go same points as Juve and Milan, you lose every head-to-head. So the ball wouldn't be in your hands, but you would inevitably be back in it. You would, because 1 point gap with 3 game weeks to go is very calmable. So yeah, we just have to do our job. Okay, my predicted 11 is actually quite standard. All players back from their injuries. I expect it to be that. Mancini, Indica, Hermoso, Wesley, Kone back with Cristante and Celik. And then Matti, Paolo, Malin. The first time we're seeing all of them start together. They've never played, all of them 3 together. So it's the first one. Yeah. And that's it. Let's go through some comments, shall we? If Roma win all 4 games instead of Milan, Roma will qualify for Champions League. Milan has to lose versus Atalanta. Simo, why's the live getting late? I was watching the game. Serie A is crazy. Hopefully Verona maintain the score. Yeah, look, speaking about the league, the Italian league is rubbish. The Italian league is painful to watch. The Italian league is something. It's torture. It has become torture to watch. It has. Now I'm a very big fan of. I've said it many times. If you know me, you know that. I've got nothing against defensive football. I've got nothing against it. I'm a Mourinho lover. Okay, so I've got nothing against teams that prioritize defense over attack and win games 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. Because just like the attack is important in football, the defense is equally as important. So I've got nothing against defensive football. I would argue that the defensive part of the game is even more important than the attack. I'm not an idiot that goes after watching the PSG game on Tuesday, that's not football. That's not football. No, that's not football. That's not football. Where are the defenses? No, that is football. Everybody interprets football in however way they want, and that is a show. But going from that to this league is a torture, whether you like defensive football or not. I've said it, and I explained to you why this league is the problem of this league is not the fact that it's defensive. It's not that. It's the time wasting. It's the abuse of power that comes from referees, and it's the quality of teams which must be reduced to 18, because not only the quality is shit, but you get to this stage of the season with so many teams who play for nothing because they are so shit. And so you get games like Atalanta, Genoa, Bologna, Cagliari, who literally nobody gives a fuck about. So the problem of this league is not a defensive, non-defensive problem, but it's the time wasting, it's the abuse of power that comes from referees and how they are constantly obsessed with being the protagonist of a football game, and it's the shit quality and the shit technical side of this. That, I mean, there were teams in this league, there were players in this league that you look at and you're like, how on earth are they playing in first division of Italian football? How? So that's the problem. It's not the fact that it's defensive, because defense, okay, it's not nice to watch a 1-0 game, but a 1-0 or a 5-4, it's the same thing. If we win out, I think we make it, says G Rilla 2. How do you draw against an already relegated Verona? Again, it's the quality is shit. That's why. It's because the quality is absolutely shit. Just imagine if that march didn't happen. That march was suicidal. That march was absolutely suicidal. If that march didn't happen, we'd be in the Champions League already with 3 game weeks to go. Simo, what was the last kit you bought, and how come you hardly wear kits to the stadium? I don't like wearing kits at the stadium. I think wearing football kits at the stadium is something that you do up until you're 12 years old. I don't know why, not 12 years old, because I used to do it up until like 2 years ago. But yeah, no, I don't like wearing football kits at the stadium. Especially now that it's so hot. You sweat so much wearing those kits and those plasticky materials. But no, I don't like... My last kit was... What was my last kit? My last kit that I bought was... I didn't buy it this year. I think last year. Mancini, if I'm not wrong. Do you think Paolo is staying... I actually think I honestly I'm afraid because I think, again, look, if Paulo Dybala accepts a 2 million contract when he's earning a 12 million contract now, if Paulo Dybala loves this team, this city so much that he's willing to say I'm ready to earn 2 million, then how do you say no? Also for a marketing reason. But my problem is if he doesn't massively reduce his wages. Like if Paulo Dybala doesn't accept to go lower than... But even 5 million would be too much. 3 million max. 3 million max for me. Like if he wants more than 3 million, he needs to fuck off. If he wants less than 3 million, how do you say no? Especially now that he's earning like triple the amount, more than triple the amount. And the other thing that needs to happen if he does extend his contract, which I actually, from what I'm reading, and now that Ranieri left and that Gasperini has control, Gasperini wants him to extend 1 more year. So I actually can see it happen. But there needs to be two buts. There needs to be two promises that you make me, that Paolo makes before putting pen on ink on paper. Number one is that you massively reduce that wage. Like, not even just reduce it, you more than half it. And number two, he cannot start. Like, you cannot build a fucking football team around Dybala. He needs to become a last 30-minute player. You cannot keep Dybala and build a team around him. No. That's the mistake that you make. If you keep him, he massively accepts to massively reduce his wages, and he accepts not to be a central part of the team anymore. Yes, do it. But the problem here is that my big fear is that you're going to keep him and you're going to still build a team around him. And you're going to get to next season where he's going to get injured again. And you're like, what the fuck do I do? I'm an idiot. And you're again biting your fingers because you extended his contract. Those are my two promises that you need to make me before I say yes to Dybala extending his contract. Same discussion applies to Pellegrini. Same exact discussion applies to Pellegrini. He wants to stay, two promises. Number one, max earn is 2 million. Number two, you're not a starting player. You're a last 30-minute player to improve our squad depth. Yes, then I'll say yes. Same applies to Mancini. Not more than 2 million. So you reduce your wages and you accept not to start games. Fine, I'll do it. Good squad depth. And same applies for Cristante, but Cristante, get rid of him. Like, sell him. Sell him. Sell him. Just get rid of him. I want this team in the Champions League. However, I don't think Juve could drop points in these matches, and I can't see another conference. Well, look, all of us said that Juve were not going to drop points today. So football is weird. Football is weird. You never know. I still think Juve are going to get fourth, yes, but you never know. We're back believing in it. Se vinciamo andiamo a -1 dalla Juve e a -3 dal Milan, che a pari punti avremo una migliore differenza reti. A pari punti non vedi la differenza reti, amico mio. A pari punti vedi scontri diretti e li abbiamo persi tutti. Quindi non si vede la differenza reti, purtroppo. Okay, guys, I'll catch you on Tuesday. I'll be at the stadium tomorrow, but I'll be late back home, so I won't do a match reaction tomorrow. I'll do a match reaction on Tuesday. We need to win. 4 games, 4 wins. We need this recipe to continue believing in that Champions League spot. Hit the like. If we can get 100 likes, it would be great. Hit the like, subscribe, and talk to you soon. Simo out. Forza Roma sempre.